Hi, guys. It's Sven from Badass Counseling. So we created the Badass Counseling group on Facebook, and it grew to well over 45,000 members. And we kept getting asked by folks for a support group, a growth group that's more intimate, gives more access to me, Sven, if possible. So the Badass Counseling team got together, and they created Community Plus. For a monthly fee that isn't cheap, you get direct access to me 2 times a month where you can submit your questions directly. Monthly drawings for a small group counseling session with me. Monthly drawings for one-on-one counseling sessions with me. Priority Pass access to go to the front of the waiting list for ongoing counseling with me. Priority Pass access to be considered to be counseled by me on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Direct access to my top 2 selling video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. Interviews with people who've had success in their soul journey, some well-known and some everyday folks like you and me. And a fantastic opportunity to meet and get to know other men and women who take their healing and growth seriously and who do the work. And a social community feed where folks share their challenges, their struggles, and their triumph. And so much more. So go now to badasscounseling.com. Click on the Community Plus sign-up page for premium content and direct access to me and to like-minded people who are committed to healing, growth, and creating a community of support and happiness.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Welcome to the Badass Counseling Show. It's great to have you here. I am the Badass Counselor, Sven Erlandson, and I am joined in studio by my team, Rob the Rocket and KC over in the booth. Whether you are tuning in from Arizona, Minnesota, or down under in South Africa or South Australia, it's great to have you checking in with us. To my team, I say hello. KC is just waving, nothing more, not speaking. Rob, what say ye today?
Never been a rocket before I met you, Sven. I'm very happy to be Rob the Rocket.
Well, you are an excellent rocket, and you run this show, so I'm just glad to have the rocket here.
I'll take off, eh? That's a Canadian expression.
Yes, I know that from Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Exactly.
All right. Here we go. First question of the day is Angelo. This is on TikTok. How do I overcome the need of being seen and accepted? I journal. I had a therapist and life coaches. Angelo, inside of that, first of all, we all have the desire to be seen and accepted for who we are. All right? The challenge in that, before I answer your specific question, the challenge in the wanting to be seen and accepted, which we all have a desire for. We all have a desire to show you who I really am and you stay. That's love. That's why in the movie Avatar, what's the phrase you never hear in the movie Avatar or any of the sequels? I love you. Instead, what you hear is, I see you. To be seen for who I am and the person stays. To truly see another person is to see inside of them. We all long for that. But the challenge is, for you to see who I am, I have to show you who I really am. And that's the scary part. So the desire to be seen, we don't ever truly overcome per se, because it's part of who we are. It means that I am showing you who I really am and that you're accepting it. So the idea of fully overcoming it, I would say you can sort of let go of that, but that's not what you're saying. You seem to be saying it's a biggie and it's like almost like an obsession. Let's just run with it in that vein. How do I overcome the need of being seen and accepted? Simple. You've got to ask yourself the question, what's the fear driving the behavior? You guys, for those of you who have read my book or who follow me regularly, I often say, and you've heard me say it before, if you're ever trying to understand why someone's doing something that doesn't make sense, even if it's you, always ask yourself the question, what's the fear driving the behavior? Speculate the answers, then go with the biggest, hairiest, scariest one. And I guarantee you on something like this, how do I overcome the need of being seen and accepted? You fear being unseen, being unaccepted. And I'm willing, which is understandable, and that's all of us to some degree. But what does that mean? Not being seen and not being accepted means I don't have worth. I don't feel loved. Your fear is that I won't be loved. My fear is of being insignificant, which I am willing to bet dollars to donuts that if we were to drill down into your past, somewhere in the past, you still have a message inside of you that says you are not significant. You don't have worth. You aren't lovable enough. And so if you are not seen and accepted, if you are not receiving that external confirmation of your worth, then that message that has been there the whole time inside of you that you don't have worth, that you aren't good enough the way you are, that rises up and it churns inside of you like a winter snowstorm pelting against the windshield of your car as you're trying to drive down the highway and just see the white line, in the lane. It's that overpowering. So it's the fear. And it's not just the fear of not being seen. It's the fear that if someone doesn't see me, I don't have worth. And so what that means is you are drafting so much of your sense of worth from an external power source, which means that you are fighting against the voice inside of yourself that says, I don't have worth. And you need some external confirmation versus I have gone inside, I have identified that source and I have extracted it and I have allowed myself to dive further into what are the implications of that voice being there? Who taught me this? How do I feel towards that person? If you haven't read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, Angelo, you need to do that. There's a Hole in My Love Cup. You can get it at badasscounseling.com, audiobook, ebook, paperback. Next question. Shelley Walton asks on Facebook, can I fix being a parent instead of my child's friend? Oh, absolutely. And Shelley, what you're identifying then is I am being my child's friend, and I want to be their parent. It's being driven by fear. Just as I said a minute ago, always ask yourself, what's the fear driving the behavior? You are afraid. Well, the question I would want to ask you is, in what way are you using your child as your friend? Are you using them for confirmation of worth? That type of friend? The friend who's sort of the sycophant, the one that's always saying, you're great and you're wonderful and and whose praise you're always trying to win, that kind of friend? Or is it the type of friend that you're always calling up whenever you have a problem? Oh my God, I'm so stressed out today. It's such a hard day. And my boyfriend this, and I feel so, and I'm not going to make my rent payment this month. What sort of friend are you using your child for? You see what I'm saying? A child is not equipped to handle adult problems. So I'm hoping you are not using your child to dump your problems onto. Child is not equipped to be your friend. Certainly not of that sort. That's friend/therapist. Now, if you're doing that, you just have to stop that immediately. Get yourself a therapist. Get yourself a pen and paper and start journaling. If you are using your child as friend, as confirmation of worth, in other words, I need this person to like me, right? Then what that says, just as I was discussing with this in a previous question, what you're fundamentally saying is I have a sense of lack of worth inside of me. Or you're fighting against the voice inside of yourself that I'm going to do better than my parents did. I want children that actually like me because I dislike my parents. Or I'm going to prove that I'm a better parent than my parents were because my child is going to like me. My child is going to want to be with me. And or you are using your child as your little dolly. Come on, Dolly, let's go play. Come on, Dolly, we're going to the grocery store. Come on, Dolly, we're going to go to whatever. That you're using this person as a companion because you don't feel comfortable out in the world by yourself. So you are using this child as a companion, potentially stealing their childhood from them when they want to be playing with their friends some of the time. Now, they want to be with the parent. But there's a difference between child that wants to be with the parent and children want to spend time with the parent, and the child loves being your friend. But there does reach a point where the child begins to realize, even if they don't have words for it, they begin to realize this isn't about me. I'm here to meet the parent's need. So what you need to begin to do is you need to begin to ask yourself what sort of friend you're expecting your child to be. And you write, Shelley just wrote in and said, she wants to know everything going on and she worries. Oh, that shit's got to stop right fucking now. Right fucking now. She wants to know everything that's going on, which implies you have trained her to know everything that is going on. Your child should not know everything that is going on. Everything that's going on inside of you, oh my mother of holy Christ. No. Your child is not equipped. I don't care how old they are. I don't care if they are 16 and, oh, she's an old soul for her age. I don't care. She is not equipped to handle the problems of a 45-year-old or a 36-year-old. She's not equipped. And if she worries, that means she is taking someone else's problems and adult problems, and those are consuming her. What is a 16-year-old or an 8-year-old supposed to be worried about? An 8-year-old is supposed to be worried about, Mom, I broke my pencil. Where can I get a new pencil? A 16-year-old is supposed to be worried about, boy, I have to study for my math test. Or, gee, does that boy like me? Or are the girls going to accept me? A 16-year-old is supposed to be worried about, am I going to make the cheerleading squad? Or, gee, I'm going to captain the chess club this year and I'm going to kick the shit out of everybody on it. Not your problems. Stop sharing. And what the message you need to be conveying is, I'm doing fine, sweetheart. I got my problems under control. I'm a grown-ass woman. I'm fine. And you need to be finding other avenues to disgorge your own pain. Journaling, therapists, your own friends. Get friends your own age because you are using this child. And I guarantee you, as a matter of absolute fact, if this child ever has a therapist, whether now or in adulthood, that therapist, if they are worth their weight in salt, will identify that you have stolen your child's childhood, and they'll hate you for it, or they will be justified in hating you for it. Your child does not exist to be your friend, and the mere fact that you are asking the question of how do I be my child's parent and not their friend says that you see that it's a problem, and that is good, and I applaud you for that. Now it's time to cut them off from knowing your problems and just say, hey, I've got it. Just working with some things here going on in my life. I got it under control. Honey, you're doing fine. And they'll be going through withdrawal of wanting to know, and I'm worried, but you're weaning them off it. They don't know it, but they want you to wean them off of it. And they want to be reassured that you are an adult and that they are safe and that you have your problems under control, but you have to be flushing your own emotions. You have to be flushing your own pain and worries out of you. And I recommend you do for your child what my mother did for me. I was 13 years old. My mother started me journaling. She taught me how to journal. And I started doing that, and I've been doing it to this very day. So 45 years since then. Teach the child and let your child know that you journal. Do not let your child see your journals. And if you have to burn them or tear them up or keep them in an encrypted file on your computer, do that. Do not let your child anywhere near your journals. And your child will snoop and try to find them. And guess what? Then you haven't solved shit. But the fundamental problem is, how do you make that transition from making your child no longer your friend by going inside of you and beginning to go into what are the real fears driving me to use a child to meet my adult needs? Is it companionship? Is it fear of being alone? Is it fear of not mattering? Is it that I'm trying to prove myself as better than my parent? Is it I'm trying to get confirmation of worth that I never got from my parent? These are really fucking deep questions. You need to read the book. There's a hole in my love cup. Next question. All right, Missy Smalley on Facebook asked the question, how do you acknowledge your achievements and take pride? I don't feel like I'm enough. The problem is not the acknowledging your achievements and taking pride. If you're having problems doing that, it's not the acknowledgments that you're having problem, or the achievements and acknowledging them, that is actually the problem. It's the other voice inside of you. We just taped an episode of the show, of the counseling show, and the counseling episodes, of course, go up on Thursdays, and these lightning rounds go up on Sundays. And we just taped an episode recently, and this particular guest was talking about how they're always, taking care of other people, and they love doing it, and they love being kind to others and helping them with their needs and so on and so forth. And then I started talking with this person about, their own, what they're struggling with in their own life, and they explained a couple of things, and I said, and so what do you think of that? And they said, oh, it's just pathetic. When I hear myself talk about what I'm struggling with, it's just pathetic. And it's just, I'm embarrassed by it. I say, well, wait a minute. Your default, if somebody just said what you said about how you feel about yourself, all the things going on in your life, if someone else said it, you would respond with compassion, wouldn't you? And she said, oh, yeah, absolutely. That would be so hard for them to go through. I said, but you just said it about yourself, and your default was to call yourself pathetic and embarrassing. So it's not that you lack the ability to be compassionate. But you have there is some mechanism, some trigger switch, kill switch inside of you that when it's about you, it kills that compassion instantly, and instantly you go into attack mode. That means you did not come out of the womb lacking compassion. And let me ask you this. Did you come out of the womb saying, hey, I suck ass? She said, no. I said, exactly. That means someone conditioned you, someone taught you to hate on yourself, yet take care of everyone else. Well, it's the same thing going on here. You can't, Missy says, how do I acknowledge my achievements and take pride? I don't feel like I am enough. That's because, yet I guarantee you, Missy, I guarantee you that if Becky or Shelly or Jessica on over here or David or Jenny, any of the people who are tuned in to the show, or William, if they had their accomplishments, you'd be like, oh my God, that's so cool. So you're good at acknowledging accomplishments and having pride for others, but when it comes to yourself, you can't. So you know, or you won't. So you know how to acknowledge things. You know how to take pride in something when it's somebody else's. But there's some trigger inside of you. There's some kill switch inside of you, which says you have a negative message inside of you. You got a belief embedded in you at some young age. Somebody taught this child when you were very, very young. Somebody pressed the message into the wet cement of your soul, and it embedded to the point now where you just think it's part of you. That embedded message became a virus infecting the operating system of who you are, that you think it's actually part of the original coding, and it's not, and it never was. What, a child is inherently no good? Unworthy of pride? Can't do anything right? No. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, what is the fundamental message that you believe about yourself? Is it I'm no good, I'm unlovable, I'm never good enough? Who I am doesn't matter, I'm unwantable? And who the fuck taught you that message? Where was it? Where did it really come from? And the woman on the show that I was telling you about, she says, oh, that came from my ex-husband. I said, how old were you when you got married? She said, 21. I said, 21, really? But you said you've been getting that message your whole life, which means you've been getting that message before you met your ex-husband. So there was fertile soil by the time he came around. So who were you getting it from before that? She said, oh, my stepdad and my mom. And then we began to identify it. We began to identify what those messages are. So you've been getting these messages, Missy. You've been getting the message that something is wrong with you. You're unlovable. You're not good enough. You've been getting it your whole life. And so what keeps you from acknowledging it is you forever have this kill switch inside of you that says, oh, your acknowledgement or your achievements are no good. It's not that big a deal. You're not lovable. It's never good enough. You've got it's like you're trying to put your foot on the accelerator and press the gas in your life and look at all the good things you've done. But one foot is forever stuck on the brake because you were conditioned to believe that you're not good enough. You suck. You're unwantable. Somebody taught a child that message, and you've been taught to still believe it. And until you go down deep into that, again, read the book. There's a hole in my love cup. It'll take you down into it and step you through the process of healing it. But until you do that, you're fighting against yourself. You're trying to acknowledge your achievements, but you can't because you've got your foot on the brake because you were conditioned to believe fundamentally that you suck. All right. Nexus, in a follow-up on somebody else's question. This is on TikTok. Nexus asked the question, is it normal for a parent to want to get to know their daughter, quote, as a friend, end quote? Hearing that hurt. Is it normal? It is so fucking normal. And it is so normal in this era. If I had thrown that question out there, or if someone had asked that question back in the 1950s or 60s, people would have ever watched the show Mad Men. That was that era. It was rare or rarer. If you studied history of child development, history of parenting, and my parents were teaching parenting classes in the 50s and 60s and 70s. So I've had the benefit of growing up in that history and hearing many of these stories, but it was far, 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 far less common for a parent back then to want or need a child as a friend. A child might be used to dump the parent's problems onto. A child might have parents who are more balanced in being friendly but also putting responsibility on. But we can't over glamorize parents back then. But the idea of child as parent or child as friend for the parent, As a massive phenomenon, that I would offer, and I could be wrong on this, but I would offer that is a somewhat newer phenomenon in the last 30 years. Why? It's parents using their children to confirm their own sense of worth. Parents who have their own feelings with regard to their own parents and saying, I'm going to do it better, or I'm using this child to make me feel feelings of worth, ultimate worth that the other ultimate worth givers, parents, didn't give me. So I'm going to extract ultimate sense of worth from a child, the other ultimate worth giver, in a way that a spouse really almost can't be. So it is normal insofar as that it's common, but is it good to want your child to be a friend, to be your friend? Well, you don't want a relationship of animus, of antagonism and butting heads. There's got to be good nature, but fundamentally, it's not a friendship relationship. That child is incapable of being your friend. What is a friend? Someone who you carry them, they carry you? How can your fucking child carry you without you robbing them of their very life? Your child doesn't exist to be your companion. They're to be social. Yes, you do things together. Yes, you guide them. Yes, you teach them. Yes, you teach them chores. Yes, there are consequences for breaking the rules and some expectations, but children are to be hanging out with children, socializing with children, as well as the adults, some. So is it normal? Yes, but does that mean it's good? No. Your child does not exist to be your friend. And if you're using your child for that reason, you need to go inside of yourself and ask yourself, what are the fears driving the behavior? What are the wants, particularly along the lines of confirmation of worth? You need to read the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup. We will be right back with more right after this short break.
I am one of the lucky few who've had the privilege not only to read his books, but also to experience Sven face-to-face for countless one-on-one sessions. His intelligence, knowledge, and deep empathy have had a deep impact on me and the people I love. And I can say that he is amongst the most important people in my life for the last 10 plus years. I am thankful for you, Badass Sven.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
All right, we are back with the Badass Counseling Show. Right, Lorraine Ann asked the question, is Badass Wisdom, which is one of my books, the workbook to one of my other books, There's a Hole in My Love Cup? No, it is not. Those are two completely different books. The workbook for There's a Hole in My Love Cup is titled Workbook for There's a Hole in My Love Cup. If you go on my website, badasscounseling.com, it says workbook. All right. Badass Wisdom is its own separate book. It has a different cover, and it's got the raven, which was one of the assistant to the Swedish god, Scandinavian god Odin, bearer of wisdom. And it is a 366-day inspirational book that's pretty kick-ass. And Badass Wisdom and There's a Hole in My Love Cup are two completely different books. All right, next question. Samuel J.Z. asks the question, do avoidants deserve to be back in our lives if they decide to come back? Deserve is based on a person's inherent worth or a person having atoned for crimes, sins, pain that they've caused against me. Okay? Only you can determine whether or not any person, be they an avoidant or anything else, deserves to be back in your life. Have they earned it? Have they atoned for the pain they've caused? Have they changed their behaviors? Or are you just letting them back in on a promise? All right? But the mere fact that you're asking the question about someone deserving to come back says someone has caused you a lot of pain. And the mere fact that you're using the word deserve says to me that the pain is not healed inside of you. Says to me you're really still hurting a lot. And you'll have much clearer vision on this question if you go into that pain and do the work of flushing it out, because you are feeling it. Deserve that question. And there's nothing wrong with the word. I'm not dogging you for the word, Samuel. Please don't hear that. I'm simply saying our word choices reflect where we are. And so you saying, do they deserve to come back into our lives, which implies like you don't deserve it, like almost animus or even almost I want to punish you or fuck you. Okay. And so what I would recommend to you, if you want a much clearer sense of vision and clarity on this issue, is take out a pen and paper and start writing. Write them a few letters that you don't send to them. Journal about all your memories, all your feelings. Start flushing. Do that for like 3 weeks, minimum. And then tell me what you're seeing and what you're feeling regarding letting them back or not. Because what happens is, folks, we get so many of our own emotions and feelings. And if we've never been taught how to get it out or that it's okay and good to get it out, we get so charged up and cranked up and spun left and right and up and down and east and north by northwest. We get spun in every direction that we can't feel our own sense of clarity, our own source, connection to our own self. And we make wackadoodle decisions that we change, we go back to, we run away from, we run to the left, we run upside down. We go all different directions. And that's why this whole idea of journaling, with therapy, for some people choose therapy, but if you don't want to pay, just fucking do this shit on your own and go deeper and deeper, and you will begin to have greater clarity. And clarity, folks, clarity is the great unsung payoff of great therapy. Peace is great. Peace is unbelievable. Happiness is fantastic. Strength is wow. But there is something to be said for clarity that is just beautiful. To be able to know your path, to be able to see a situation, to be able to know what you truly are inside, that's clarity. And it is a beautiful thing. It's similar to awareness. It's a powerful thing. All right, next question. Lillian Marie asked the question on Facebook. How do I get motivated to pick your book back up again? I want to finish, but I'm stuck. Well, Lillian Marie, if it's so fucking boring, if I can throw it into the fire, torch it if the book is boring. God, how do I get motivated? Your book sucks so bad. No, she didn't say all those things. She might have been thinking it. Seriously, how do I get motivated to pick your book back up again? I want to finish, but I'm stuck. Usually when people get stuck with my book, for those of you that haven't read the book yet or haven't done the journaling questions in the book, what you have to understand is this book is an intimidating book. I always tell people, go ahead and get the book. It'll kick your ass and change your life, but you got to bring the courage. It is a scary book. Why? Because it takes you into the shit that you've been running from your whole life. Yet, whether you're aware of it or not, it's the shit you've been trying to find solutions to your whole life. And the reason we get stuck is because almost invariably, there's something inside of us we don't want to touch. It's too scary. We're afraid of it overwhelming us. We're afraid it won't stop if we go into it. And so very often we get stuck is because there's something you're afraid of. So what I would ask you, Lillian Marie, in your own work is, what is it I'm really most afraid of going into? What is it in the book that I'm shying away from? Or even ask yourself, what are my triggers right now? Because something you're triggered on is X marks the spot. That's on the pirate map. That's where you need to start digging. That's where you can go in. So it's not that you're stuck per se in any sort of permanent way. It's just that you've been looking at it this way, rather than, gee, I'm stuck. Look at it instead that I needed to take a break, and I've been gathering my courage. I've been gathering my breath to be ready to go right back in. All right, next question. Cheese Wheel asks a really great question, and we've all been here at one point or another, either on Cheese Wheel's perspective or the receiving end of it. Cheese Wheel says, what can I do if I want to try again with an ex, but nobody in my life thinks I should? Cheese Wheel, you are describing my life, both career-wise, love-wise, parenting-wise. And you know what the honest to God truth is? What's that line? I think it was from Risky Business, right? Sometimes you just got to say, fuck it, right? I think that was Risky Business. I never really got into that, and I love all Bob Seger songs, but when I hear da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, just hear that old time rock and roll, that was so fucking overplayed. I'm so sick of that song, but Bob Seger is one of my all-time favorite artists, but I'm so sick of that song. Anyway, but I think it's sometimes you just got to say, what the fuck? That's what it is, not fuck it, but what the fuck? Okay, back to the Cheese Wheel. What can I do if I want to try again with an ex, but nobody in my life thinks I should? Well, a few things. One, it's your life. Live your fucking life your way. Fuck them. It's your life. Are you living for them or living for you? So on one hand, I say, fuck them. You want to go back with the ex? Try again. You know that I've had people who go back to exes And they have people who say to them, don't do it because of X, Y, and Z. But sometimes we have to go back. We just have to. We're not resolved inside of us. We still feel connected. We want to try again. We feel like we didn't quite do everything. I had a woman come to me once and she had gone back to an ex 12 times. 12 times, like full on separation, moved out, moved back in. Full on, 12 times over the course of however many years, decades, whatever. And we had to go down into what was it really? And she had fears inside of her. She had her own sense of lack of worth, and that she used him to pour love into her love cup because she had no sense of internal self-worth. So she was getting it from an external power source, him. And so part of what I would encourage you to do is ask the questions inside of you. What is it I'm really wanting? Yes, you're wanting the relationship, obviously. Yes, you're wanting the love. But what does that represent? Are you wanting her to confirm your worth? Because if you're using her for confirmation of worth, then it's not about the relationship so much. Then you're using her to meet some need that long precedes her, that goes back to your childhood. And you can do that work on your own, as well as going back to her. You can still go back to her. I don't give a shit. It's your life. Live it your way. What the fuck do I care? Right? But what you really need to go into is, what is the real fear if I don't have this relationship, this person back, to what might be the deeper longing that I'm trying to get met, that, oh, I am lovable. Oh, somebody does want me. I need to hold on to this person. I need to go back to this person, because when I am here, then those voices inside me, they go quiet. When this person is near me, when they're with me, then those voices of, see, you suck. See, I'm unlovable. Then those voices get quiet. But if that person goes away, all those voices come rising back up and I feel anxiety because I'm unlovable. Okay. Go into some of those questions. And again, that's in both my books, Badass Wisdom and There's a Hole in My Love Cup. But also, if you want to try again with your wife, then on the other hand, or try again with an ex, you can listen to your friends, but I'm betting that's not going to solve it, because you're still going to have that itch to go back. But whether you go back or not really isn't the point. You need to go into, what is it I'm really afraid of if I don't? And what is it I'm really wanting to have satisfied? Cheese Wheel follows up by saying she has been taking care of her mental health, going to therapy and taking meds, putting in effort. That doesn't mean anything. I don't care what she has done. I want to know what you have done on you, because I'm wondering what the need is inside of you and what the fear is inside of you that you're trying to get met. All right, next question. Bianca asked the question, what can I say to my kids who disrespected me because of their dad? What can I say to my kids who've disrespected me because of their dad? What you can say to your kids who have disrespected you to your dad is, go to your room. You can say you're grounded. You can first of all, depending on what the disrespect was, sometimes you punish first or send them to their room. Or, I mean, if it's the nature of it, if it was just a conversation, but if it was something sort of egregious and hurtful, then yeah, I would have some sort of consequence. And then after that consequence, then you have to have the conversation. Say, listen, that hurt. You hurt me. And if they still continue to be calloused and disrespectful, then there's got to be a shutdown of them. You have to stand up. You have to assert your power. Okay? And what you are fundamentally conveying is that this behavior of disrespecting any person in such a way, but you're disrespecting me, the parent in this case, is not okay. And it will not be tolerated. And it's just like training a puppy. That every time that puppy urinates on the floor in the house, you pick up the puppy and you take it outside. Every time it urinates on the floor, you pick up the puppy, you take it outside. You pick up the puppy, you take it outside. Every time the child disrespects, you have to shut it down. There has to be a consequence, and there has to be a follow-up conversation. When calmer heads have prevailed and I talk it out, you're hurting me. You're treating me with disrespect. We don't do that in this home. I'm not doing that to you. This is not okay. What you do with your mothers. Oh, and Bianca, they're 23, 25, and 27. They hacked my cell phone. Yeah, okay. So this is next level shit, Bianca. Obviously, you need to get a different cell phone, and you may need to create some distance between them because this is not okay. Defend yourself, stand up. You need to be strong. This is not okay to be treated this way. Okay. If they want to have a conversation, you have the conversation. You try to have those conversations, but you do not have to. No one has to be disrespected. Conversations and heartfelt conversations where we're discussing our issues, that's what we're shooting for. But one person hacking a cell phone or being disrespectful is not okay. And you cannot tolerate that, should not tolerate that. Next question. Steffi asked the question, how do you reconnect with an 18-year-old who refuses to talk to me? It's breaking my heart. Your 18-year-old is breaking your heart, is refusing to talk to you because they know it breaks your heart. They are wanting you to hurt for some reason. They are wanting to create distance. And the fact that it is breaking your heart is somewhat normal. No one likes to be rejected. No one likes to be rejected by someone they love, but no one likes to be rejected by someone that they need love from. The question I would want to ask you, Steffi, is what % do you need your child to give you love? And I'm betting that % is pretty high, if you're to be totally honest. I'm betting there's a possibility, and this is hard stuff to hear, and be honest with me, in being honest with you, it's hard stuff to say to you. But very often, if something like a child doesn't do that, there are phases in a child's life where they just want distance from a parent. There are some natural phases to that, but doing it at 18 is almost a bit after the fact. Usually that distancing from the parent is going to happen roughly 12, 13 to roughly 14, 15, 16. By 18, there's somewhat of a drift back to the parent, somewhat, okay? They're maturing a bit. Okay, so that child refusing to talk to you, now maybe they're getting messages from an external source. Maybe it's an ex, whatever it is. And so that could be another piece. But refusing to talk to you, that's a big thing for any child to do. Why? Because children love parents more than parents love children, which I'm not going to go down to that avenue, but suffice it to say they love their parents an extraordinary amount, and your child still loves you an extraordinary amount, even if they are choosing to not talk to you. But there's something about that connection, that wanting to stay connected with your child, that relationship that feeds you. And this person is creating this break because there's something about that connection that was perhaps suffocating for them, hard for them. And so they're creating this space to give themselves room to breathe. And so what you have to be doing is going inside of yourself and beginning to flush out your pain, your fears, and going down deeper into what particular things going on deep inside of me might I have been using my child to balm, to salve. How might I have been using my child? Because I'm honestly, my first question is it possible the parent was using the child to meet some of the parent's own emotional needs, and this is the child's way of distancing themselves, getting some of their own space back? And you say, how do I reconnect with the 18-year-old? Well, I put up a video on Christmas, Steffi, that I've put up each Christmas since 23, and I'm sitting outside in the snow in a bomber jacket, and I talk about the 7 things that a parent can do to help an adult child heal. Now, generally, I direct that's for kids who are like 25 or 30 and beyond. 18-year-old, it's a little different, but I want you to go take a look at that, because what it's going to force you to do is look at your own culpability. And the question I want you to answer, though, right now, and I don't want you to write it in, but I want you to think about it, is if you could choose between your child being fully healed and you don't get a relationship with them, or you get a relationship with your kid, but they're not fully healed from the damage you've done to them, which would you choose? And your answer to that question largely determines the degree to which you have potentially adversely impacted your child, because you may be wanting that relationship back because it provides something for you. And that's not okay. And you're trying to restore that relationship. Your child may sense that you just want that relationship so that I, the child, will provide X, Y, or Z for you, or so that you can continue to control me, or so that I'll continue to be your friend, which was one of the themes earlier in the show, versus I just want to help you heal. I want to atone for the things I've done, even if we don't have a relationship. Now, that's the parent living for the health of the child. I heard it said just very recently, Rob, that the mark of a good parent is when the parent has rendered themselves irrelevant in the child's life.
Love it.
Where the child no longer needs the parent. But if I'm still dependent upon or holding on to because I need that relationship, then I'm fundamentally using that child to get my own needs met.
Then you can choose just how much contact you want to have. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it's a choice. Then the child is choosing me versus, and someone else puts up a question here, a separate question. This is from Tommy D. Tommy D asks the question, should I go to my kids who are in their 20s and ask them what their problems are? My response to that, Tommy D, is I'm going to tell you what my parents did. And when we were in our 20s, our parents simply said to us, we are here as your resource if you want to discuss issues. However, we are not going to dig. We're going to respect your space. And you know what? I went to them. That was entrusting me. It was a statement of trust that you trust us with our own problems. But that meant that I felt open to go to them and not pried into. They weren't trying to pry around on my problems. But when I went to them, it was a statement of trust. And they took it very seriously. And then I wanted to go with them at times when I had a deeper problem. But it was a statement of, to me, the adult child, young adult child, hey, you got this, but I'm here if you need me. So my statement to you, Tommy D, is begin to step out of that child's life, because the underlying message you're sending to the child is, hey, you make good decisions, even when they screw up. The larger point is, so you screwed up. So you made a few bad decisions. We all make mistakes. You generally make good decisions. And that's such an empowering statement to make to a child. Next question. Missy asked the question, all right, how do you learn to discipline children? How can I let go of OCD to have my kids help with chores around the house, like having to leave into my room? Missy, what I'm going to just recommend as a short answer to that is there are so many great parenting books out there, and parenting books on discipline, how to discipline children. Okay. And I'm actually going to make one particular book recommendation, parenting book recommendation to you guys. And it's not specifically on disciplining children, but it's a great book, and I'm going to recommend it. And the author's name is Hal Runkle, and it was actually a New York Times best-selling book, and the title is Scream-Free Parenting. Give it a look up. If you have children, especially in preteen and teen, Scream-Free Parenting. All right, next question. Getting a lot of good questions today. Gimpy Hart. Oh boy. I'm opening this one up to everyone. Gimpy, this is a great question you just asked, and I'm going to open it up to everyone before I answer. Gimpy Hart asked a very simple question. Is it ever appropriate to tell a child you wish they weren't your child? Go ahead, people. Friends or Foes says no. Holly says no. Pain and Purpose 777 says absolutely not. Brittany Davis says no way. Ink Angel 76 says no. So Dakota says never. Anna, nope. Louisiana 2433, no. Emily Beecham, capital letters, no. Libra Girl, no way. Steffi, no. Right. Deborah Merrill says just say you're lucky. Shelley, why would you say that to your child? Mark Curran over on Facebook says, fuck no. Very colorful, Mark. Lorraine Ann, no. All right. Tammy Cremus says, what the fuck? Libra Girl says, that's abusive. And Steffi says, never, ever, ever tell anyone that. I think you got your answer. Yeah, no, don't. It's never okay to say that. I wish you weren't my child. Do you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why you never say that to a child. I would never say that to a lover. I would never say that to a friend. You want to know why you would never say that to a child? For the same reason that at the end of 2025, some of you may have gone into your end of the year review for work. And your boss brings you in, let's say you're generally a great employee, and your boss brings you in and says, hey, Suzanne, you've been a great employee. I love having you on the team, and you've done such a good job bringing in new business, and the team loves you. And I've told you before, I love having you on the team. You're great. There's one thing I want to work on, and that's follow up on your contracts. All right. They're not getting properly done, which jams up the paperwork. Plus, also, we've actually lost some of the clients that you brought in because your contracts they're not being done properly. But again, I want you to know we love having you on the team. You bring in so much new business and the team loves you. Okay. And you get basically, a A- on your job review. I mean, it was right. It was glowing. You now go home for Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever you fucking celebrate. What is it that you are thinking about while you are cooking dinner on Christmas Eve? What is it you're thinking about through your Hanukkah break? What is it you're thinking about? Are you thinking about all the great business you brought in or what? No, you're thinking about how you fucked up on your contracts and how your boss was disappointed in you. Doesn't matter how much good there was, you're thinking about the bad thing that you did. It doesn't, if you tell a child, gee, I wish you weren't my child, you can say 47,000 great things about that child, but that memory is going to fucking stick.
As I understand it, there's something about your brain that has a bias towards the negative.
Oh, for sure. I believe that.
Those are the things you remember. It's innate, as I understand it.
Absolutely. And the truth is, yeah, we do make mistakes. And that's one of those you go back and apologize for and you say, I didn't mean it. It was stupid. I made a terrible mistake. And, you know, and Gimpy Heart responds by saying, thank you. I guess I just needed to hear that validation on the struggle bus today. So it sounds like that was something Gimpy Heart heard as a child.
What could go wrong if you tell somebody, I wish you didn't exist?
Right. I wish you weren't my child. Yeah, and it sounds like she got that message growing up. All right. LaFerrero Roche says, my mom would tell me my dad didn't love us all the time. Is that evil? Yes. Yes. All right. Next question. And the reason it's evil is because she is fundamentally for demonizing your father in the mind of the child. The child naturally believes the parent. Whatever the parent tells the child believes. And the child will believe it for a very long time, even into their teen or 20s, even when they are rational, even if they have counter messages, vestiges of that original message will persist. And so she is demonizing the parent, the other parent. And the problem is that child, you, still loved your father. And while the father may have done bad things, she's taking it to such an extreme to tell you he doesn't love you is an extraordinarily powerful message. And as a result, guess what the child's brain does when it is told that a parent or doesn't love them? The child's brain makes that next leap that we all make. We make it as adults. If someone says to you, gee, I don't love you anymore, I want to break up with you, what does our brain often do? Gosh, I'm unlovable. I smell and I'm such a shitty lover in bed. And we start tearing ourselves down. How much more so a child? If you tell a child that their father doesn't love them or their mother doesn't love them, that child's brain is going to make that next small leap that is this giant leap. And it is, I'm unlovable. And that's where we just begun the destruction of a child's soul.
It's abject cruelty.
Abject cruelty. And it will take decades to overcome that, or one very powerful counselor drilling down into that and extracting the message and teaching that child or child now an adult, the absolute lie of that and the horror of that. And giving that child the necessity to purge the hatred and anger that they feel towards that parent. All right, just one or two more questions, and we're going to call it a day.
One.
All right, one or two. Here we go. All right. R.C. Eris says, I base my self-worth in being the savior. I can't even save me and struggle to overcome and cope with guilt. That's right. And it's so easy. It's so much easier to save others than it is to save ourselves. Why? Because saving ourselves requires going into all the stuff that's scary, all the stuff that's overwhelming, that we fear taking over our lives, the sense of lack of self-worth, that I suck. It means going into all those messages that we were taught to believe ourselves. And so what you have to do is you have to have the right tools for doing so, or a therapist who knows how to help you do it. And this is why I wrote the book, There's a Hole in My Love Cup, which is 70% of my counseling method in one book. You can get it at my website, badasscounseling.com. Or a great therapist who will take you deep, not just hear about your recent struggles with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whatever. Okay. But it requires going into that as well as disgorging, beginning to identify the belief system that you were taught to believe about yourself, because that's where the real damage is being done. One last question. And the last question is, here we go. This is Catherine Bedard over on Facebook. Catherine says, I was reminded by my mother all through my life that she had considered abortion. She got pregnant for me 1 month after my sister was born. Also reminded that I, quote, ruined my sister's life, end quote, by stealing her attention due to my audacity of being conceived and born. As
keep
Rob
getting
says.
the same question here.
Well, now at the end, yeah. So that parent is fundamentally blaming the child because the parent spread her legs and got pregnant, or there's no mention of rape. So the parent made a decision and had a child and then took her wrath, her anger out on the child. And why? Because they can. Bullies bully because they can. And it's far easier to put that weight and that anger onto the child rather than own it myself, because then I would look bad and I would be responsible for my own actions. But I don't want to do that. I'd much rather make you feel bad. You become the family shit stick. You become the family problem, patient, victim. And I don't care because it makes me feel good to make you feel bad. So, Catherine, I guarantee you've got a whole lot of pain inside of you. And guess what? Your mom was a fucking asshole. That's the bottom line. And until you get out not just all the pain and the feelings that you were taught to feel about yourself, but until you actually dive into the root of that core belief that could have never been true to begin with, that you are bad, that you are unwanted, unwantable, until you go into that and begin to look at that and own it and the absolute lie that it was and extract it from your being, you're fucked, because you're still operating. No matter how much external confirmation you get of your worth, whether by titles and degrees or money or love from others, you still believe it inside. Until you extract that, you will never have peace in your soul. You'll never have true happiness. So you have to go into that. Get the book. There's a Hole in My Love Cup. Rob?
Yes.
A good show.
Great show. Great show. Yeah, a lot of abject cruelty.
Oh, yeah.
I also noticed, since you're so good with words, that bomb and salve both have silent L's.
Silent L's.
Well, what the L is up with that?
And indeed, and why is it silent in those words and the word, balk? You balked on the play.
Another one.
Right. Yet we pronounce it in calm. Right.
Well, you do. Some people say calm.
Calm.
That's right.
Right. The .com era. All right, guys. Well, this has been fun. We covered a lot of ground. Thank you all for your great questions as usual. Rob, you got a closing thought. Any closing thoughts?
No, because I had such a struggle with responding on the chat. I just became discombobulated.
Oh boy, some of this stuff, you guys, it's funny. You guys may not know this, but sometimes we talk after the show and sort of decompress a bit. And, Rob and Casey and I, sometimes some shows are harder than others. Some of the issues deeper. And, we have to do our own struggle, our own journaling and so forth to sort of deal with some of the stuff that comes up, particularly on the counseling episodes, more so on the counseling episodes, I think. But we're just so grateful that you all share your struggles and your questions and so forth. And we don't take it lightly. We, kid around now and then on some of them that are just so obvious. But we want you to know that we really are grateful for you guys opening up and sharing your struggles with us. And really the reason we're most grateful is because we get so many people writing in saying how grateful they are for the questions they wrestle with. And gee, I got inspired by Suzanne saying this, or Tommy's problem on this one over here, or when David was talking about his problem and how he dealt with it. All of these things, you're helping each other. You're helping each other. So for those of you who shared your problems, and very grateful because you're helping out other people, not just the people that were live with us today, but all the thousands and millions around the world who hear these podcasts and are helped themselves, just as I know many, many, many of you are being helped, those of you who have been asking the questions today. So
the website is badasscounseling.com. And if you'd like to be considered for a counseling episode, write to us at production@badasscounseling.com.
And if you do not know what a counseling episode is, just go on Spotify or Audible or Apple Podcasts. And we put up 2 different shows every week. We put up a counseling episode. Those go up on Thursdays. We put up a lightning round episode like this was. Those go up on Sundays. They're all up there. But you can hear what the counseling episodes are. And we are counseling people for free as a way to help other people see some of their own issues and hear their own issues, but also as a way to help you in your own self-work to learn questions that you can be asking and things that you need to be looking at. Well, I think we have covered all the bases, folks. I hope you have a delightful week and weekend, and we love you very much. Thanks for tuning in. Go inside, slay those fucking demons, and have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.